since morning, the core theme which I could listen to was that how tourism and aviation both should work together, or there should be more collaboration. I think tourism and aviation go hand in hand, and not only Air India, all all aviation companies in India, they have to work very closely with state governments to bring in more and more tourists, because we all know that tourism increases the GDP of the country. Part of how Air India Group, as you all are aware, there are two parts. One is Air India, which full service carrier, and Air India Express. And we both, as part of the Tata Group, are really committed to increase our share not only in India but in the global aviation map. We Part of our endeavor to grow us is around 570 aircraft, which we have ordered. Out of that, around 90 are wide-body aircrafts, and that itself is a huge commitment on part of India, that when these wide bodies start coming in the coming year. We already are, by the way, flying, and as end of this year, next year, the wide bodies start coming in. The biggest beneficiary would be tourism. The biggest beneficiary would be the state tourism, because as we connect more and more new destinations in various parts of the world, we get the non-stop connectivity as part of the flag carrier. We get various tourists from various parts of the world, and provide the interior connectivity through Air India or Air India Express. And then, as just Secretary Sir had mentioned about Buddhist circuit, we already are flying into to most of the countries where the Buddhist traffic usually flies, whether it's Korea, whether it's Japan. We very soon will be going into Philippines. We already go to Vietnam, we go to Thailand, we go to Singapore, we go to Malaysia. I think a major chunk of the Buddhist traffic comes from these countries, and as we expand our operations into these countries, and cities like Gaya come into the circuit, there will be huge amount of tourists which will be coming to visit various parts. We already know Varanasi has already been operating as a good airport. Kushinagar has already been opened. So this is one part of the tourism which can be built. Air India, as you all know, has a huge role in not only taking people from India to various parts of the world as a network carrier, and creating hubs, which are three hubs which we are creating: Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore. What we are trying to do in the coming year, as we expand our footprints, as people, as global citizens who are traveling from one part of the world, let's say from Southeast Asia and going to Europe, we would like all those people to stay and spend some time in India. And then we are trying to build some robust packages where people take a stopover in India, spend 2 or 3 days, and then go further to their destination. This itself will create a lot of tourism potential for the hotel operators, for state governments. So it's an opportunity for all of us, that we need to collaborate together, so that all these people who are currently flying probably through any other hub, once we bring them into Delhi and Bombay, and we give them a 2 days, 3 days of stay, and a fare which includes all these packages. And as Mr. Goel said, not only Taj, we will be talking to other hotel chains as well, where we can create a kind of inbuilt fare package where the traveler comes and stays for a couple of nights in India, and then probably visit the normal tourist destinations, so that next time when he makes plan to for his holidays, he comes for 5, 7, 9 days. So these are very big opportunities where India, where as Secretary Sir said, that in the next 5 years, as aviation, and not only India, there are other airlines like Indigo and all, who have a huge order in place. In next 5 years, we'll be doubling our fleet strength. And the aircraft start coming in, we need to go into various parts of the India to build that tourism. And there are various examples in previously where Kapil is not here, probably long time back. Goa used to be a October to March destination, and Sahara had started a lot of summer packages, and they took and changed the complete paradigm of Goa. And then Indigo came in, and they provided connectivity to Dehradun, Rajasthan, and all these cities where the fares used to be extremely high. And as soon as aviation more flights went in, the overall fare structure came down, and there's a lot of domestic tourism which came. Mr. Rajiv Mehra was here, and I keep hearing that ICO is saying that there is very less hotels available during the winter season. And major reason because of that, the domestic tourism has picked up and including the wedding tourism, which is their destination. So more hotels coming in, more airlines coming in, it will automatically create that much of demand that whether it's to inbound tourists or the domestic tourists, there will be a huge scope of growth in the coming next 5 years.
Thank you very much. And now I request Kamal Imorani from SpiceJet. What are your plans on promoting tourism to the states? And one thing where India you can answer after Kamal and has spoken that you are creating only these 2-3 hubs, but India used to fly from Guwahati to Bangkok, right? To Bhubaneswar, the cities in the east. We mentioned in the earlier section that Bhopal has an international airport, but there's no international flight. So Air India, why don't they start directly from Bhopal in north? These are big centers. We should do some study, and so that Delhi and Mumbai are not congested, and all these states are like mini countries. Okay? They have their own population, they have their own USPs. So both Indigo, SpiceJet, and Air India, they should try to fly from other states internationally, not just within the states. So, Kamal, what are your plans?
Thank you, Dr. Goel. Thank you, ICC, for inviting me to this panel. I'm indeed honored to be here with all of you. I see a lot of friends here, and very happy to have our Secretary, Sir Walnut, who gave us a very good keynote on what both aviation and tourism together can achieve for India. Just a few thoughts before I specifically answer your question on what SpiceJet has done. Tourism, aviation and tourism, as we heard from Sumanji in the morning, contributes about 5.1% to the GDP. But if I quote some figures of 2 years back from WTTC, they had estimated close to 9% to our GDP for aviation, tourism, and the ecosystem that surrounds aviation and tourism. So probably that 9.1% incorporates a lot of informal economy as well. But the reality is that all that is actually coming from aviation and thereafter tourism. Also, the employment that's generated by aviation and tourism, again, if I quote WTTC figures of 2 years back, in India they were talking of close to 8%. This, of course, includes both formal and informal economy. But the reality is that having been in this industry for 40 years, and having learned a lot, I feel that the aviation and tourism industry as a single industry, if I were to club it as a single vertical, amongst all industries in the country, probably contributes to more employment generation than any other single industry. And I think that is where we feel that the policy makers should give it more focus. Not that it's not there. We heard Secretary Sir telling us on what the FM had announced in the budget speech, 120 more airports in addition to 80 already which were connected. So we are talking of 200 new airports that have been connected, including what's being connected in the last few years and what will happen in the next few years, which is, I think, huge. No other country in the world has achieved that. And when you have connectivity, air connectivity, that is when tourism grows, and that is where both the GDP of that particular area of the state and the employment generation grows, as you all know very well. Dr. Goel just mentioned states are like countries. I completely agree. If I take the example of Maharashtra, which probably has a population of 80 million, if I compare it to, say, Vietnam, again, an emerging economy that's doing so well, with a similar population, both the state of Maharashtra and the country of Vietnam have a similar GDP actually, almost $500 billion. But look at the tourism. Maharashtra, of course, has the second largest airport in the country. Maharashtra probably had tourists which were, or rather Vietnam has tourism of 18 to 20 million passengers a year, last year's data, which is 5x of what Maharashtra is. So really, I agree, we need to have more connectivity from the state's capitals and smaller towns to not only within the country, but outside as well. To answer your question, Dr. Goel, what SpiceJet is doing, we've been around for 19 years. We started a lot of routes which stimulated a lot of traffic within the country to begin with and outside. Of course, we did suffer a kind of a major turbulence during COVID, and of course, what SpiceJet experienced with the grounding of the Boeing MAX aircraft. Everybody knows we have 155 firm orders of the aircraft, which are now, of course, delayed for another 3 years. Having said that, we continue to start new routes. We continue to be the largest URAN network airline even today. And these are the small towns that we connect. You heard Secretary Wallam talk of seaplane services. We are very soon going to announce both the land and seaplanes that we are talking of as last mile connectivity to areas which could just be landing in a football field in the middle of nowhere, or in a water body, which is a lake, or possibly, it could be animals, it could be Kerala, it could be in the hills, and it could be wherever else. So a lot of plans that we will unfold in the next few months for creating this connectivity and thereby creating tourism. And just one more point, sir, before I hand the mic back to you. I think Sumanji mentioned a very good thing, that there should be a task force between both civil aviation and tourism ministry, something that I've been talking about for almost 2 decades now. And I think it's very, very important. The time has come now to have a very serious task force, and also to include private stakeholders in that task force, so that we can also contribute alongside the policymakers. I hope, Secretary Sir, you will agree with this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think after hearing two of the major domestic players, now I'll come to you, Harvinder, the world's largest airline, United. What does United do to promote, certain areas in the US? And what are your plans for the future? I think that's what we are wanting to do.
Thank you, Dr. Goel, Honorable Secretary, everybody, all my colleagues here, all the friends in the industry, good morning. Thank you for having me here. First of all, it's a great pleasure and honor. I think rather United is in a very unique position. First of all, between US and India, we don't have any show bilaterals because we have an open skies policy. And prior to this issue with what was happening in Russia and Ukraine, you were flying 4 flights a day to India, and the plan was to introduce a 5th flight. And unfortunately, we had to pause the rest of the flights, barring Delhi to Newark that we're flying. But at the same time, what we're trying to do is, since Dr. Goel mentioned that we are the biggest airline in the world now, by two matrices. One is the fleet size and the ASMs, the miles that we offer, which also means that we have the planes available to fly. And more planes are coming in every week as we speak, the white bodies as well. The unique position in India doesn't allow us to fly to India direct, but what we're trying to do is to fly via. So we have a joint venture agreement with Lufthansa and Lufthansa Group Airlines, so we're trying to bring in passengers via Europe, whether it's Frankfurt, Munich, Zurich, and since I'm also handling Middle East, we have flights to Middle East, to Dubai. We're trying to get passengers via Middle East as much as possible to cover for the shortfall that we have by not having all the direct connections that we wanted to have. Having said that, India remains a key market for United. So one of the things I really wanted to emphasize on is, in terms of the strategy and the policy, I think we're doing the right thing when it comes to India. In terms of the promotions, in terms of the the destination, stuff like that. The important part is talk about the real things that tourists face in India. So I'll give you one example. Apart from our commercial operations to India, we have a local global capability center in India. We call it India Knowledge Center. And I also serve on the board of that center with about 1,000 people employing. We have officers visiting almost every week from US to India. And I interact with all of them more or less. And combined with their official visit, they're trying to visit various places within India. So whether it's a regular Golden Triangle, as we call it, Agra, Jaipur, and Delhi, and then beyond. The most key questions and the most frequent questions that I am asked, because since I'm representing United and I'm an Indian sitting in India, is about the safety of the destinations, is about the connectivity, is about the guides, and a lot of other things. So it's always a question of the basics that come. So as I said, in terms of promoting India as a destination, we're doing a great job. And we're also tying up with a lot of tourism or tourist-related bodies to promote this. In fact, our global key account managers sitting in the United States are talking to the corporate customers and other customers. And we cannot isolate, although we do talk about segments, tourism segment and the corporate segment, but we really can't isolate them. So a person, let's say from a big corporate company is traveling here for business, next time he'll probably travel with the family for the tourist purpose or tourism purpose. So what we are doing in the United States is also trying to create that awareness about India through the tourism bodies or through the tie-ups. But what really is required is to talk about the basic stuff, because that's what they kind of want to know more about. And that's where I think we need to create a little more awareness in terms of what we offer at the destination, how easy it is for us, for everybody else to go in. When I talk about bringing people to India via Europe and via Dubai, we also have an internet agreement with Air India. We provide this special pro rate. We have a SPA with the fares, and it's a through agreement, through and through. So we get people to Delhi and then we connect, via India to various destinations. So as an international airline, we are doing all we can possibly do, and I'm hoping we're all watching this space. The moment the airspace opens up, we want to take it up to 4, 5, and maybe beyond flights a day to India. That's the kind of potential that we see in all the segments in India. So I think it's important. And then probably something like talking about the niche segment. What some of the people that I talk to are basically the Indians settled in the United States. Excuse me, they talk about the second generation trying to discover the heritage in India. They don't know much about India. So target those niche segments. Talk about the heritage, why this new, second generation, they should come to India and explore their motherland, what is there to offer to them, and all these things. So what I'm trying to say is basically create more awareness on the ground, what is available on the ground, around safety, transportation, availability, guides. It looks like a small basic thing, but that's what people really want to know. And then also look at some niche markets like second generation Americans, Indian Americans who want to visit and discover their heritage and their motherland. So that's what I would like to say in terms of what we can do as an international airline. Again, hoping we get more opportunity to fly to India when the airspace opens up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I think we'd like to open the house for question answer. No observations. Please raise your hand, introduce yourself, and only ask a question. Yes, and address it to the person it's asked.
Yeah, my name is Giri Sethi. I am the long association to the hospitality industry. And my question to the respected Honorable Secretary Civil Aviation. Sir, my first question is this MRO, the fleet. Most of the Indian airlines even flights, they are going abroad for the MRO facilities. When we are giving the contracts, in that contract there should be a clause. The OEM, these foreign airlines, the MROs, this facility should be India should be half of that. That is my first point. Second point is the complex regulations and compliance requirements. It need to be simplified. There is a biggest example of that. If you go to the Ministry of Tourism, 40,631.
Just ask the question. Just ask the question.
Yeah. So the system should be simplified. The classification system should be simplified. My third point is the third party star rating classification should be introduced.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah, that is.
Anyway, thank you. Colleague raised about the MRO, which is not really in the tourism side, but it stands for maintenance, repair, and overhaul of aircraft. Another very promising area. It's not in the tourism, but since he has raised, it's always good to be informed. So all these aircraft require, in fact, every time in the night and periodically over their life cycle, require lots of MRO work. And with the increase in the number of aircraft, in fact, the MRO business today for the aircraft of India is $2 billion. And what our friend was hinting is that out of that, only 20% value gets done in India. The rest, the aircraft goes to Singapore or to the Dubai or even further to Europe to get that work done. So 80% goes outside our country because of the limitations of our technical institutions, our MRO organizations and all that. So it's something which we are very much cognizant of. In fact, the $2 billion will become $4 billion very shortly because Air India is acquiring SpiceJet, doing something, Indigo doing something, and all the others. So anyway, we are very much cognizant of it, and thank you for raising it. The other issues, I don't know, the hotel, this thing, maybe. Yeah.
No, hotels already have a star rating program, and there's a committee which consists of the tour operators, the travel agents, and there's known as a hotel classification committee, and the municipal government and the local, and they go and inspect the hotels and do the ratings. Nothing wrong with that. So,
Okay, sir.
yes, please introduce
Well,
yourself.
sir, can I ask one question here, sir?
Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Rahul Sahai. I'm chairing Indian Chamber of Commerce in Jammu. My question is to Mr. Walden. So, what are the check and balances for fares for domestic airlines? Like for JNK, if we see flight to Jammu is less than 1 hour, and the rates sometimes are 15,000, 13,000. And if we check Delhi to Phuket or any other destination which is 5 hours, the rate is same. So what are the check and balances? This is my question. Thank you.
You know, airfare, I think it's an important topic, and it's something that we in government are handling it while respecting that we have deregulated aviation sector in India. So the two have to move together. Why I say, for example, those of you who are aware, China still regulates. The airlines cannot fix their fares on their own. But we have moved away from that. That was past, we have moved away from that. So we have to be aware of that. So how much the hotels charge, how much the hotels charge during the Mahakumbh, we don't talk about it, but they charge quite a bit. But it's all deregulated, so we don't know. Somehow airfares is more prominent in the conversation, and that's part of how it is, and we are not shying away from it. But the fact that it's a deregulated market is something we have to respect. Within that, if you look at the ITA studies, for example, IATA and all, the Asia Pacific region is in fact the region where the airlines have the lowest yield per passenger compared to the Europe, which is higher, the North America, which is higher. So we feel the fares are rising, but they are still at levels which are far below what the airlines are able to get in other regions of the world. So that is one again the sort of underlying factor that we should be aware in a well-informed audience like this. Now within that we have set up in our DGCA a tariff monitoring unit. So 62 routes within the country are tracked on the actual fares, and they monitor that. So that unit keeps functioning and alerts us when anything happens. But the spikes which happen because of various festivals or other things is something which is still a work in progress, because it's a matter of the fares of the top bucket. So I think that is where it's pinching us every now and then, because when we looked at a much larger database of airfares, in fact, the fares at the top bucket constitute 1% of the total tickets or even lesser. But that 1% is the one which catches everyone's attention, including our honorable members of parliament. It's raised by the honorable MPs all the time, but it's that few tickets. So what we have been, in fact, telling the airlines also, some of your colleagues, that side also, and everyone else, is that outlier fares have to be a bit moderated by the airlines themselves also in a deregulated market, because that one keeps getting repeated, and the power of social media is such, it looks like that one fare is the only level of fare. So, and what we are also doing is the Air Seva portal that we have. We are bringing airfare into a more prominent location on the home page so that it becomes easier. Because what we are trying to get into is that on one hand we say deregulated, on the other hand, if a passenger has actually faced, a tourist has actually faced airfare which is unreasonable and exorbitant, on that portal, which will also have a mobile app, if they can lodge the exact on this route for this date booked so many days in advance, which also has a relevance, and the details, we will then track it, and if some exorbitant and monopolistic type of fare is there, we will take action on that so that the repeat of that kind of thing does not happen. But so that is one part of it. Now to compare fares within our country and fare to some regional listing, the pricing policies of different sectors, different also. There's even a concept of loss leaders. So why is it low to that destination in Phuket is something, maybe I don't know enough to comment on it, but how to make airfares as reasonable as possible. In fact, we are looking at not just an audience like this which can afford, but even at the audience of a lower middle class. So it's very much in our listing, but it does not have an easy solution because we have moved into a deregulated market, but very much something we are cognizant of, something which are very sensitive about, something which the elected leaders are very sensitive about. So we will continue to work with our airlines and see that the rates are reasonable, that the aviation as a whole keeps on growing, that the tourism keeps on growing, and airfares, high airfares be not a bottleneck. So it's a work in progress. Thank you.
Yes, sir, my question, sir. This is for Mr. Puri. Hello, Mr. Puri. Question is here.
Just a second.
Just
I think Vice Chair wants to comment.
Let me also make a small comment on how airline fares are determined. You all know that, especially in India, like Secretary Sir just mentioned, the lowest yields is in Asia Pacific. And if I go further down, even in Asia Pacific, as per IATA, the lowest yields, that is the revenue that we get per kilometer flown per passenger, is the lowest in India. Ironically, the third largest aviation market in the world and the largest number of aircraft orders placed historically is a very, very low yield aviation market. To add to this, just to give you a thumb rule that we experience in India, and I don't speak for SpiceJet, I speak for all domestic airlines in general. Any fare that you buy domestically 30 days out is actually a loss to the airline. Even at the current fuel price, if I look at $70 a barrel. Anything, and this is a thumb rule, so you know, this is a very broad thumb rule. Anything which is between 15 and 30 days could mean a break even. 7 to 15 days out is profitable for the airline, marginally. Within 7 days, for time-sensitive customers, is when the airline probably makes a profit on that route. I agree that 1% of the highest fare inventory at times goes very high, which again, we are working closely with the ministry and the DGCA to make sure that it doesn't go beyond a point. The one more aspect that I'd like to add is that we've had in the last 25 years, 16 airlines in India that have gone down and only 5 are left. And one of the reasons, as you all know, is the airlines' profitability is something that can only happen if the overall maturity comes in and the responsibility of conveying that to the customers, end customers, are probably all of you partners here who are sitting here to convey to them the reality of Indian domestic fares. Thank you.
Well, sir, either question is.
Sir, I want to ask a very important question.
Just a second.
Well, sir, please.
I think there was someone else who raised
Sunil.
and
Sunil
since we
Mishra.
are running out of time.
A very important sector I
There's
want to touch.
another
Well, sir.
session which is starting.
A very important subject I want to touch, well, sir. This is very important for all of us, especially for the inbound. Sir, my question is, do we have any plans to resume flights between India and China? We are getting a lot of positive news, but we don't know the date. This is my first question. Second, I want to touch about a very potential sector we have that has been neglected for after COVID, basically. That is Delhi, Taipei, Delhi. Taiwan is one of the richest country now as far as the foreign exchange is concerned. India was flying the pre-COVID, like some long time back, not some time back. So my two questions: do we have any plans to restart this sector? Delhi, Taipei, and India, China, India. Please. Thank you so much.
My question,
I think
my question to
let's
Mr.
take
Puri,
all the questions.
My question is to Mr. Puri. After Tata's taking over, we expected that services will improve, but on the contrary, your services are going down by number of rising complaints. So, do you have anything to say? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, last two
Sir,
questions.
yes, I'm Deepak Bhattacharya from Na Travel. Sir, we have been operating charter operation to Goa for a long time. And I think it's a high time we review our charter policy because the charter operation has a high risk for a foreign tour operator or a charter company. But our current charter policies do not allow charter operators to sell seats when the seats are empty to the clients. So it's only the charter, same flight he has to return. So some policies need to relooked as per the current situation. Wherever the international charters are going to Turkey, Egypt, Thailand, their charter policies are very, very flexible. On the contrary, our charter policies are very fixed and very old.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
Lady,
Hello, sir.
they will. Okay.
Yes. Sir, I'm Dinesh. I'm from Panipat. Sir, may I continue, please?
Please, fast.
Yeah, sir, actually, we have in tier 2 or tier 3 cities, we have helipads. So, to give a boost to the tourism, is it possible that we utilize these helipads? Chopper services, say for example, so from rich tier 2 tier 3 cities, we have good clientele are potentially having spending capacities, say taking their chopper flights directly to the tourist destinations.
Okay, I think, yeah, yes, which lady wanted to ask?
Yeah.
Yes, please, quick.
Hi to everybody, to the respected delegates. Just one question in a very macro sense to respected sir and the rest. That we talk about expanding business, about expanding airlines, about aircrafts, about tourism, about hotels. What about the sustainability part, the ecosystem? How are we creating? Is there a benchmark wherein we look at the climate, about how it's affecting the overall, scenario of the local people, of the inhabitants?
Understood.
Okay, fine. I think, yes, sir.
To make it quick and brief, China, the MEA and their counterparts have had the talks, and in principle, the agreement they reached that the direct flight will be resumed. And as a follow-up, Ministry of Civil Aviation and our counterparts also had one round of meetings, and it's moving on, but it's not reached the stage where dates have been fixed as yet because there are some issues to be resolved, but otherwise it's moving on. Taipei, yes, as a country also we are very keen because semiconductor, for example, they are a world leader on that. But again, the slots are there, the traffic rights are there, but whether the Air India or the airlines from that side, I do not have anything specific to comment at this point. I don't have the information. On the sustainability, in fact, we have achieved quite a bit. 80 of our major airports are already on 100% renewable energy, by the way, out of the 150. So, and these are all the major ones. And the sustainable aviation fuel that the CORSIA, that the ICAO prescribes, we are part of that exercise. In fact, along with Ministry of Petroleum, we are working towards fulfilling whatever are the international commitments that are there. The IOC, the various other companies are also working on how to produce the SAF. And in fact, the Ministry of Petroleum has mandated the blending of SAF from 2027. So we are moving on with that. And there was one more question somewhere here on. Helicopters. In fact, the concrete step we have taken very recently is in the DGCR regulator. The helicopters were always part of the fixed wing. So we have created a separate directorate because in our country, surprisingly, we have only 250 helicopters. Sao Paulo has 1,000 helicopters. So we need to promote, we agree fully. In fact, my personal view is that helicopters as a provider of public service has to be now expanded. Right now in our visual listing is that helicopter is for some VIPs or for some election campaign and all that. So how it can provide for regional connectivity, how it can provide for emergency medical service, for law and order, for disaster relief. So helicopter is something we very much would like to promote, and in fact in the budget speech also it is there that in the Himalayan states, Northeast states, island states, aspirational districts, modern helipad will be set up in each of them so that the helicopter service can expand. I think there was a question for you. Okay, charters, I think we'll discuss more. If anything can be simplified and these things, I would be very much open to those ideas, but we'll need to understand more what exactly is the context in which the rules have been made. And I would like to, before I end, leave the thoughts with you. RCS Udan scheme is getting expanded. How all of you can plug in. So I would like to leave the RCS Udan word in your minds. The seaplanes are coming about, so I'd like to leave that in your thoughts so that in future interactions we can discuss the Buddhist circuit. Again, I come back. You know what our friend Harvinder mentioned. Knowing the what do we use? The deficiencies or difficulties that a tourist faces sometimes. Can we use the Buddhist circuit as a model where everything is taken care of? When the state government is made to be more proactive, so that every point, in fact, to the level of if they are walking to somewhere, it's a smooth, nice experience. If they are flying somewhere, it's a nice experience. If they are driving to a hotel, it's a good experience. If they are visiting a historical site or anything, the entry, everything should be a very smooth and pleasant experience. So we can use this as a proxy to improve tourist experience in our country, which is blessed richly with so many historical sites. So again, I leave the thought Buddhist circuit. If anyone has specific ideas you'd like to share, while we are interacting with Ministry of Tourism, I think all of you are on the ground. I would be very keen to interact. And lastly, the Foreign Work Task Force, Yes, we have had one round of meetings with the Ministry of Tourism, and some of the airlines from my side were there, and the tour operators were also there. We can work on that, but it should be an effective one, where actual tour operators who can make a difference, airlines who can make a difference, ministry which can make a difference should not be discussion on generalities where we have cup of tea and forget again after that. So a task force for the two sectors, I think we can very much think of how to make it happen. Thank you very much, Mr. Raman.
So, couple of questions, one, sir brought it up and Kamalji answered it appropriately. On a lighter note, I joined industry 30 years back in the travel agency, and Delhi, Bombay, I used to make a ticket of 7,999 one way. Currently, out of 12 months, 11 months, Delhi, Bombay is sold at 50,950 one way. So it is, if you take a 1 hour flight or 1 hour, and Ravinder may be better aware of it, in US, it's more than $150 or $200. We are yes. So we are somewhere between $30 to $40 as contributed to Viksit Bharat. We should start paying a little bit more because that will increase the GDP of the country. To answer you, sir, again, social media is a double-edged sword. What was Air India 2 years back and what Air India is today, it's a transformation journey. Our CEO has mentioned it many times that it's not a 2020 match because Tata has taken over. It's a 5-day test match, and we have completed 2.5 years. So we are in the lunch time of the third day. There is still 2.5 more days to go. I would really appreciate and would like our travel partners to give that much of more time for us to transform. It's a legacy airline which is getting transformed to become a global best airline. One of the benchmark to cater to the service delivery is, I can give you some figure that NPS rating is given by the customer where we take the feedback. When we started, we were at around -34. Currently, we are somewhere between 20 to 25. Global standard is to be somewhere around 40. I can assure you on part of Air India that we will get to there and we will get one of the best customer service.
Sorry, we have another session. We are already late. No, I'm sorry. What you can do is, please understand. You take my email ID sg@stickgroup.com on behalf of Indian Chamber. We will write a letter. Whatever your suggestions are, particularly on charters and particularly on whatever your issues are on MROs, please send them to the Indian Chamber. And I assure you that the Honorable Secretary is very open and he is very responsive and one of the finest secretaries we've had in this organization. So he will definitely look into it very seriously.
Including controlling the rates also for the flight.
No, see, no. Please. Now, I'll just say one point, which after COVID, sir, we had an upper capping. During COVID, we had an upper capping.
Lower
capping. I think that was a very good policy. I don't know why you, because when there was a farmer strike, Delhi Chandigarh, which was less about half an hour flight, was being sold for 1 lakh rupees. So exploitation of the consumer should not be there. I agree, if the airfares, you want to fix up regular airfares, not at the level of USA, but maybe some level, but an upper capping should be there. Because, Prime Minister's vision is, उड़ेगा देश का हर आदमी So with that note, I'd like to express my deep sense of gratitude, sir, to you and to all the speakers, Harvinder and we have just some mementos to be given to all these.